SJREIA does not exist to render and does not give legal, tax, economic, investment, or financial advice. SJREIA disclaims all liability for the actions or inactions taken or not as a result of communications from or to its members, officers, directors, and employees.
We will start it here. So everybody, thank you for joining us for this SJREIA Zoom meeting. As everybody comes every month to see this, we typically have guests that are going to be in the real estate or can enhance the real estate investor space. We appreciate SJREIA for hosting this. If anybody hasn't gone to the main meetings, I'd strongly recommend you do so because you can meet a lot of people there. There's something about face-to-face, and SJREIA is probably the biggest and best investment group in South Jersey. So if you're going to go to one, that's the one you want to go to. Today, we are going to be diving into a pretty, everybody that is in the real estate investing at some point is probably going to have a rental or is probably going to do a flip. Like you're probably going to do that. So we reached out to a guy who's absolutely a seasoned veteran in this. Actually, one of the, I found out earlier today, was one of the, or yesterday, was that today? I don't remember.
Today.
It was today. Yeah, it was today. Yeah, that one of the founding members of SJREIA back in the 80s, if I'm correct. And Mark's been doing this for over 40 years through multiple cycles, which is always awesome to talk to somebody who's survived multiple cycles because that's a war in its own to be able to survive that. I think people underestimate that because most people probably listening to this came in the last cycle. I was in 2008, so I have one tough cycle, I guess, in front of me. But I know there was the 1990 and the late 2000 and so forth. So Mark has seen them. So Mark is here today to talk to us about, what he knows about the investing game in terms of having a successful portfolio. He also is a best-selling author for The Results That Matter, which is a practical guide to achieving personal and professional goals. Right there's the book. Anybody wants it. And if I remember correctly, Mark, the proceeds for the book will be going to an awesome cause as well, which we can talk about at the end of the show if that to discuss where that's going. So, Mark, thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of the things you say jog my memories. I'm one of the founding members of South Jersey Investors. 1986, I joined, so it's just shy of 40 years. Many of those members have now left us. So I've been a self-managing landlord for all that time. So I just got a text message from one of my tenants asking me if I used weed killer on the grass because she's worried about her dog, and that she would be happy to pull the weeds next time to alleviate using the pesticides in her yard or around her yard. This is a duplex. So why do I share that story? Being a landlord is not for the faint at heart. You have to learn to roll with the punches. I told her I'd be more than happy if she pulled the weeds and I rode by and I didn't see any, I wouldn't spray the weeds. So
sounds like an okay deal. Well, so let's talk about it. So Mark, my background, I'm currently a lender now, but I had built a property management company in the Philadelphia market, and so I had with the peak of it, there were several thousand units under management. So what comes with that is a lot of war stories. You have stories that people, and I'm sure over the years that you are like, so you want to be a landlord, and then you tell the next story and you go, oh, maybe that's not for me. So let's just talk about it. Everybody wants to get rich, but what are they up against when they get into this game? Like, what do you see from like a day-to-day perspective that kind of may make you go, man, average person, I don't know if they want this.
Well, you have to fall in love with the process, number one. And I love service. So if you don't love service, landlording will be a hard thing. Now, I love giving excellent service and I'll respond and I take text messages. So I go to landlord seminars. I probably read upward around 1,000 books over the last 40 years on self-improvement and real estate management and purchasing real estate and financing real estate and everything that comes along with it. So I can only tell you, if you would have told me 5 or 6 or 7 years ago that we would have a landlord's market one day, I think I would have told you were crazy, because I had markets when I've had 10 units open, and then you have to compromise and take chances on people. Now I get units open and I literally have people fighting over them. Now, how long that's going to last, we don't know. But Ian mentioned cycles, and you have to be able to ride the cycles. If you're going to be, in my humble opinion, if you're going to try to make a living off of being a landlord, it's really hard, especially at the start, because real estate investment is a long-term investment. They always say the best time to buy real estate is always 10 years ago. So if you can buy and survive, and most people do it and have a job, uh, which is what I did my whole life. I've always had real estate has always been kind of a side gig until it actually started making enough money that I could retire off of. But the old saying is, if you don't learn to make money while you're sleeping, you'll work the rest of your life. So what you're really talking about there is leverage. So until you learn how to use leverage, other people's time, other people's money, or even increase your skill level in your profession so that you can make more money for the time that you're putting um, in my opinion, that's what you really want to do. So yeah, I'd like to field some questions. I don't want to go off on every different kind of tangent.
That's let me just make sure the crowd knows we had quite a few RSVPs tonight. So anybody that's listening right now, if you have any questions, I see Maria already posted an answer to what was the name of the book, The Results That Matter. For real, the author of the book, Dr. Moore, is the gentleman talking right now. It's Mark. So he is the author. He wrote the book.
It's on Amazon. It basically goes over success principles. Uh, it's a conglomeration of thousands of books that I read, and I wrote it for my daughters so that they would have a roadmap to see how I got to where I got to, and how they could do better in life, and how they can be their best selves. And until the old saying is, most people don't get what they want because they never take the time to figure out what they want. And if you get real clear on what you want, and you want it bad enough, and you believe you can get it, and you work on it every day, then you'll get it. Until you get all those things in line, you'll sabotage yourself. So I'm proud of the book. The audio version just came out. I have some promo codes to get the audio book for free. I'd be willing to give them out to some people for a review. And
nice. Yeah, we'll put your we'll put Mark's email in there if people want to email Mark for potentially a promo code for the review of the book. That'd be fine. That'd be no problem. You made a comment that was interesting there, where the steps of success are based on knowing what you want, and I think that step a lot of people tend to skip over. Which seems like, no, I don't skip over that. But I've seen this over, I've done quite a few transactions, and I see this with different investors, where you realize really quickly that the reason they think they're here is for like financial success or wealth or whatever it may be. But after a little bit of a conversation, you realize they're not clear on why they're actually here, because maybe they're here because they want to fulfill some sort of, I want to flip this house, and it makes me feel like I'm telling my friends that, I'm in the business or whatever it may be. And they're not clear on why they really want to be there, because they think they're there for the money, and they're not. And then it leads to my second part of what I wanted to say about you, which is you made a comment very early on, which was you enjoy service. And I've always felt this way, that in this business, there's a million shiny objects. You can go subject to, landlord, flip, whatever you want to do. The people that I have found, and maybe you'll agree with this, Mark, that really succeed in that space are the ones that have the personality traits that line up to the shiny object. So like landlording, it matches your personality. You made it very clear right out of the gates. You enjoy service. That's like, maybe flipping does or doesn't, I don't know, but your personality apparently meets the avenue, the stream of money that works for you. Would you agree with that?
yeah, well, I enjoy service, but Ian, there was a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow also. So what really motivates me is building something that creates income and appreciates in value. And appreciation is really the devaluation of the dollar by the US government and the decrease in purchasing power of the dollar. So the prices go up. As the prices go up, your mortgage stays the same. The tenants help pay it off, and wealth is built that way. So there's plenty of ways to create passive income. Real estate is one of the best ways. And one of the best ways to get started is to get around people who have done it successfully, learn what they did, listen to them, and try to copy some of the things that resonate with you. You're certainly in the right place with South Jersey investors. The listserv itself is worth the price of admission. The discount in Home Depot is worth the price of admission, and everything else that goes along with it. But you have to believe, you have to think about, you become what you think about. And if you don't believe you can do it, you'll look for reasons why you can't, and you'll give in to your excuses. And the most insidious thing about excuses is the majority of the excuses are true. You either don't have time, you're tired, this, that. So how bad do you want what you say you really want if you take the time to write down clearly exactly what you want? Now, really, what I wanted with real estate is a path to freedom. Freedom is what you really want. So what is freedom to many people? Most of the time, it's enough passive income to cover your desired lifestyle. So there's a lot of good references out there. I go over that in my book. I start off, there's a formula to success. And all these success manuals or books you read, they basically say the same thing in different ways, and you'll find people that resonate with you. I hired a person to do the audio that has resonated with me over the years. And I was inspired by Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Robert me too.
Kiyosaki. I mean, me too. The guy does a really nice job with the way most people think and the way rich people think. And what he's really talking about is learning how to use leverage. Leverage.
Yeah, because everybody like money isn't really money. Money is time. That's it, right? It's like you said early on. It's just you're just exchanging. The more money you have, the more of other people's time you're using to leverage for your own. That's what it comes down to, and then ultimately gives you what you just said, which is freedom. Like you're just after freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you want. Like that's it. That's what we're all.
You can look at it a lot of different ways. And to me, money is a game. And you got to learn how to play the game. They certainly do not teach you how to play the game in school. They don't even teach you how to build your credit score. They don't teach you how to use leverage. They don't teach you how to get a loan. You have to learn financial intelligence has to be learned on your own. So there's a lot of great books out there. I wrote my book in very, very simple terms so that my daughters could understand it one day. They're still a little young. And it's done well for me. I own singles, doubles, triples, quads, and some commercial properties. I sold off a bunch. I'm getting older now. So, but the passive income and I take my own phone calls, text messages. The girl just texted me back. I think she put a thumbs up on the text message that I sent back to her to say, if you pull all the weeds, I won't have a reason to spray weed killer. So she put a thumbs up. There you have it.
Perfect. Now, do you have a sweet spot, Mark, with so over the years, you've probably owned, X amount on the low end and X amount on the high end amount of units. Do you have a sweet spot for self-management?
I got a great answer to that. Your sweet spot is the least amount of rentals you possibly can own to get financially free.
Perfect. That's a good answer. That's a good answer.
I go to these landlord seminars and I meet people that have hundreds of units and they're not making any money.
Yeah. Oh,
how's that sound?
That's brutal. Brutal is what that is. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a cash flow investor. And if you're a cash flow investor, everything else will take care of itself. The properties will eventually appreciate. I own in Medford, Morristown, Lumberton. I do own some in Mount Holly, which are a different animal. I call them my problem children. Are much more management intensive, if you will. The properties in Medford rent themselves. When one comes open, they usually have a friend who wants the apartment because it's an extremely desirable place to live.
Right.
And same thing, I don't know if you guys own rentals, but I get probably 5 or 6 phone calls a week, people trying to buy my properties. I'm sure they're taking seminars and hiring virtual assistants to make these calls for them. And very rarely do I get one for the properties in Mount Holly. I always get them for the other properties.
Mark, we have a question from Sharon Mancini. Hey, Sharon, by the way, Sharon's
I know Sharon.
Yeah, okay, you do too. Good.
Hi, Sharon.
She says, could you speak on tenants and how to avoid evictions and how to screen tenants, like generally keeping yourself safe as a landlord in New Jersey?
Yeah, I would say that sticking to your guns in the beginning, and what I mean by that is having a solid screening qualification is key. And in this environment, it's a lot easier because you can be pickier because you're getting the last one I had open. I got over 200 inquiries and sent out my questionnaire, which I'd be very happy to share with everyone for people to fill out my qualifying standards. And 95% of the people never wrote back. So you're looking for someone who you think can take care of your property. And I'm an advocate. I'm very, very upfront with my tenants. If they don't pay by the 4th, there's a late fee on the 5th, 6th, and 7th. And if I don't get the rent by the 8th, I file eviction. And that's, they call that the hot stove rule. The hot stove rule is if you touch a hot stove, you're going to get burnt. It really doesn't have any emotions. If a baby touches it, if anybody touches it. So I generally tell my tenants that I'm not the only one, that there's a group of us. And when people apply for the apartment, I tell them I have to sell their story to the group. So I'm on their side, and that allows me to ask them for tax returns or more pay stubs or telephone numbers, or if you really want to go the extra mile, you visit where they're living and see how they're living. And I've been a member for as long as I've been a member of South Jersey Investors. I've been a member of a group called Mr. Landlord. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of him. His name is Jeffrey Taylor, and he has a big landlord seminar every year. Actually runs a boot camp for landlords and has a retreat. This year it's in Costa Rica. So you go there and you get with like 400 landlords and you share war stories, and people give presentations on how to pre-screen tenants. And I now have 2 nephews that are real estate attorneys who I kind of brainwashed into their heads to be attorneys from the time they were little kids. So the last one I did, my nephew did for me. That was through COVID. I had someone in my property for 2 years, and I couldn't get them out. COVID.
That's
I don't know if I answered your question. Did I, Sharon?
No, that was perfect.
I don't see Sharon. Sharon, I was thinking about you because I might have a lease option deal to do.
There you go. Perfect.
I'm selling a commercial property lease option, and I was thinking of you.
All right, good. Call me whenever, anytime.
Yeah, you're the expert. I know you're the expert, so I might call you for your help.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Reach out to me anytime, Mark. Thank you for that.
Dawn says, do you manage your properties yourself? I think the answer is yes, but I could be wrong, right?
I absolutely always have, and I'm an advocate of that. Learning how to do it yourself. There's some really excellent books out there to teach you how. There's groups. Because if you know how to do it yourself and then you hire a property manager, you actually have the upper hand to see if it's being done right, if they're taking the care. It's the same thing. I rehabbed all of my properties. I come from a family of builders. So I had an uncle that was a mason, an uncle that was a plumber, an uncle that was a carpenter, and they owned properties. So I grew up around it. So I made my money buying distressed properties in good neighborhoods and rehabbing them, bringing them up to market, bringing the rents up to market, refinancing, and doing it over again. So the Burr method, I was doing the Burr method before Burr was Burr, before anybody knew what Burr was. So, yeah.
Okay. Anu, if I'm saying your name correctly, Mr. Napoli, do you regret investing in Mount Holly?
Napoli is the name. Napoli is a town in Italy. The Americans call it Naples. Do I regret? You know, you go through phases of life, and I was lured into Camden many times. And Camden is a cash, you can get cash flow, but you're going to work for it. And there was a gentleman named Fred Azell, and I went to meet him one time to look at one of his properties. Anybody remember Fred? He was the president of South Jersey Investors. I went to look at one of his properties. Across the street, there was like a SWAT team of cops chasing this guy down. And Fred turns to me and says, I don't even see it anymore. And I saw it. And the kids, there were cops there, and the kids were playing like nothing was going on. But there's cash flow there. Now there's cash flow in Mount Holly. Do I regret it? No, I had 3 there. I sold one. I had one that was a restaurant. It's called B Uno. It's right across from what's that really nice little restaurant there? The Robin's Nest. Right across from the Robin's Nest. I owned a building. There's a restaurant and 2 apartments on top. And listen, this is the way I'll put it for you. I'll sum it up real quick. There's A properties, B properties, C properties, and D properties. Right? Now, how you differentiate these people, these properties are by the quality of the schools and the crime reports in the area. Okay, we're not going to really go into who lives there, this, that. If it's a crime-ridden area, it's lower. If the school quality is lower, it's lower. And if you walk into the Wawa you could see who you're going to be renting to. So if you walk into there's a 7-Eleven on Federal Street in Camden, walk in there one day, or walk into the 7-Eleven in Mount Holly. It's crazy. So in other words, you can't expect to get an A tenant for a C property. You got me? So you're going to get a C tenant for a C property at best, maybe a B. If you put a B property in a B tenant in a C property, chances are they might not be happy in the long run. So if you're going to buy C properties, you got to be willing to deal with C tenants. D properties, D tenants. My properties in Medford, as far as I'm concerned, are A properties. I get A tenants, and it's a lot easier. So it's much more, they call it management intensive. It's a lot more management intensive. So just make sure you're willing to do that. And you better really learn and be on top of it. And I don't know, I used a property manager for a very short time. And do I regret? I answer your question. No, I don't regret it. I'm making really good money off of that. I finally gained control of it, and I have some good tenants in there right now. But it's a lot harder. Okay. I don't know. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I think it was a good answer.
Yeah.
How do you choose your vendors that work for you?
I've been doing this so many times. It's a shame to say that a lot of the people I used through the years have passed away. I use the listserv to ask, but I've been using Angie's List. I like Angie's List. I mean, the internet's a game changer because you can use sites and the vendors themselves have feedback. Of course, I'll throw it out on the internet. I'm not doing major rehabs anymore, and I do a lot. I can fix almost anything. I've learned when I get a phone call to at least go over there and take a look, because the majority of the time I could fix whatever's wrong within 15 or 30 minutes. If I can't, then I call somebody. I use Allen's oil for all my heaters. They're wonderful. I put PSE&G, this is a good tip. I put PSE&G contracts on all of my apartments. So they cover the heaters, the hot water heaters, and the stoves. That's what you must put in your apartments in New Jersey. Uh, and I'll warrant other things if the tenant's willing to pay for it. Washer and dryer. PSE&G will warrant almost everything, and they're wonderful because they have an army of people. Uh, One thing I'll say about it is some people go in there and scare the hell out of your tenants and say, oh, it's a good thing I came because if this heater kept running the way it did, it could have killed you in the middle of the night. Mm. And I've had that and had to deal with that and get some independent person come in. So, love, man, there's no free lunch. But I have used PSE&G worry-free very successfully over the years. And I think the name of it, worry-free, is really very good. And that covers all of your major stuff.
Nice.
I have a roofer that responds to me. And this is a good tip for you guys. If you find a quality person and you pay them right away after they do the work, they'll probably respond to you again right away. So when somebody does my work, I pay them right away and they take my phone calls, if at all possible.
Yeah, good tip. This is the most active chat I think I've had this entire through all these events that we've ever done. So I'm just trying to keep the questions flowing for you. When do you exit your 9-to-5 job? What made you, Mark, decide, okay, I'm out of the 9-to-5. Now is the time to make the leap into full-time investing?
So my 9-to-5 is I work in heart surgery, and these opportunities come up. I was out of high school. I worked in the family business, and we built homes. And I had a proclivity for my one uncle who was a mason because he owned a bunch of property. But I very quickly learned that I didn't want to be a mason, even though I served a masonry apprenticeship. And I watched the older guys struggling in the cold. We used to put antifreeze in the mortar so that we could still lay the bricks. And I went to school. But anyway, I went to school at night and I became what is known as a perfusionist. And they pay me really well. So I run the heart lunging machine during heart surgery. This is another example of leverage. So I'm leveraging a skill to make more money in a job. So in other words, I'm not shoveling coal my 9-to-5. Believe it or not, I retired and they lured me back into a job that's not very taxing. They're paying me well. And it's a high level job. So I'm still doing it. I actually have to work tomorrow, but I was off the last 2 days and I sprayed some bees in one place today and I fixed a light in a closet. And that's what the plan always was, just to take care of my properties when I get older. But I don't know, what was the 9-to-5?
Yeah, like what would make it take a leap and go, okay, like, is it the cash flow? Is it you feel the momentum of the business is coming on? You're getting
no, it's absolutely cash flow. It's absolutely cash. I mean, the basis of any business is the bottom line. The biggest thing is cash flow. And, if you don't have the cash flow is the lifeblood of any enterprise. If you don't have enough cash flow, you're going to go the other way. So, yeah, and real estate's a long-term investment if you want to be a buy and hold. If you want to be a flipper or, dude, I hate to even say it, there's past presidents of South Jersey investors that went to jail because they tried to over leverage these flipping pretty homes and there's markets that allow it. And you mentioned it in the beginning, there's cycles that allow different things.
Right.
But every cycle allows learning and hard work. But you have to have a lifeblood stream of money. And you're not going to be able to flip houses in every market. We've all seen it. If you're old enough, there's markets that there's houses that sat on the market for years and wouldn't sell. And then we just went through a cycle where people were literally bidding over asking price to the point where the banks wouldn't even finance that much to buy the house, which is insane. So what you want to try to do if you're in it long enough is be on the right side of that. So be a buyer in a buyer's market, Sounds real easy, right? Be a buyer and a buyer, but it takes guts. There's a reason why it's a buyer's market, and the reasons are real. So, but if you're able to be a buyer in a buyer's market, then you can be a seller in a seller's market. So what did I just do in this madness that we just went through in the last? I sold off my marginal properties. There were two in Mount Holly I didn't want anymore, and another one in Barrington, and they were the marginal properties. And be a seller in a buyer's market and a buyer in a seller's market. And there'll be reasons why. I think I said that wrong before. There'll be reasons why nobody's buying. There'll be fear in the market. You'll be caught up in the fear. But if you're able to fire in those types of situations, and those times will come again. I mean, there'll be cash flow properties on the market. There'll be cash flow properties, but there might not be a lot of people to rent to. And that might be the reason why there's cash flow properties on the market. But if you can do that, live through that time, and of course, I always had a job, and then you're asked to speak 40 years later. That's South Jersey Veterans Thing. And you write a book for your daughters because, everywhere we go, we're staying in these grand villas and this and that. I want them to know that it didn't come, I wouldn't say it didn't come easy, but there's a formula, man. The formula to success is in this book. It's not only this book. There's a trillion books out there.
Sure.
Just find something that resonates with you.
Well, let's talk about this, Mark. We're gonna wrap up here, but I want before we do that, two things. One, everybody's been asking for the questionnaire. Is it okay if I put your contact information?
100%. M Napoli 123. I'm on the listserv all the time. I got a loud mouth. I actually posted that questionnaire on the listserv several times, but
Perfect.
I'd be very happy to do that as early as tonight.
Perfect. And I'll put Mark's contact information in there. And if you guys want to also reach out to Mark, if you want to order his book. So Mark, let's talk about your book real quick and what the proceeds are going to, Mark. There's this pretty big cause here, a give back on talk about what happens with the money from the book.
Yeah, so the nice thing about making passive income and having extra, and you could focus on health, wealth, and relationships. And what I've decided to do with my expertise, and the guy who runs the company, who does the missions, says you spend the first 30 years of your career in medicine learning how to do it properly, and spend the next 30 years sharing it. So I've been going to Africa doing missions, and we're going in October to do aortic heart surgery. I've already been there twice. I went to China also, and so all the proceeds from the book are gone toward the mission. I'm also not proud. I'm pretty active on Facebook asking for donations because they don't have basic supplies. So, for example, they don't have instruments for the field that I can buy on eBay for $30 that they specifically asked for. So I'm using a bunch of my money, and I've already collected about $2,000. I've sold about 150 books. Just came out, but the intention of the book was for my daughters. I think I'm really happy with the audio book. I really think the guy who did it did a very, very nice job. He's very easy to listen to, and it's very practical, simplified information, and it's a recipe for success.
Awesome. I think it's a great cause, and I'm glad anybody wants to buy the book.
It's on Amazon. You can type in my name or the name of the book. It's Results That Matter. Remember, that's what you're after, by the way. At the end of the day, what you're after is results. So be real clear on what you want. Get real clear on what you want. Try to be as specific as possible, and think about it all the time. And think about the result. And then try to do a few things every day to move the needle. That's it. There's no other formula that I know of, unless you're born into money or something like that. And then enjoy the process, because listen to me, this is real important. Success is progress. It's not a place. They say enjoy the journey. So if you're doing something to get you closer to what you definitely want, you feel successful. and you feel good. So I'm not trying to sell the book, but it's all in the book. I'm available to anybody. Sharon was in a mastermind group that we ran together, and I got to meet her. So don't feel as though you're imposing. Ian, you can post my email. I'd be happy to field any questions or help anybody in any way I can.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Mark. It's awesome having you. This is literally the most active chat we've had in one of these Zoom meetings. So you might get some follow-up emails for sure. I guarantee you will. And yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, write me emails. I got some promo codes for the audiobook. Sharon, I'd love for you to listen to the audiobook and give me some feedback.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. Thanks again, Mark.
See you guys. Thank you.